talking about the neck. So the neck is real pain. So easy way to tell if there's an issue in the neck is if you have excruciating pain and can't stand up. And this is like the neck is by far the most vulnerable joints in the body, besides maybe the fingers, the toes, but it's way more important. So there are a bunch of different kind of theories on how we can preserve the neck. Old school judo, old school wrestling kind of have you doing neck bridges consistently to strengthen the muscles in the neck. There is some evidence base towards that. I tend to stay away from it personally. I think, unfortunately, you kind of have, it's kind of like how many times you roll up and down the window. You have only so many times you can bend the neck back and forwards. You have only so many times you can get thrown on your neck. There's a reason that, judo and wrestling tend to be a young man's sport unless you really take care of your joints. So there's a natural curvature in the back of the neck, which has to be maintained. So if his neck goes directly down to the mat, curvature. There are two different types of curvature in the spine. Right? We have forward curvature, backwards curvature, lumboris or lordosis or kyphosis. You don't need to remember those terms. His neck needs to bend in. So his chin needs to be able to go up towards the sky. Other way. Nope. So extending and looking back towards there we go. So this is the range that your neck should move. Most people, when they go to stretch their neck, they go the other way and they go chin to chest and they try to get a big stretch in the back of the neck. This is not a great idea. The reason being is we don't really know what's going on in the neck. Unfortunately, the joints in the spine, because they're stacked on top of each other, we can't really tell if it's closing or open angle, inflection, and extension. Meaning, if there is a disc poking out on one side, either in the front or in the back, it's going to be really hard to tell without an MRI. So we stick to kind of two things with the neck, and we'll go over this again in the workout, but restoring that natural curvature in the back of the spine, super, super important. Rolling up a towel, putting it in as a neck pillow, getting that curvature back. The other one is making sure our rotation, right, back and forth to either side, and our lateral flexion here on either side and extension is working. Okay, if we have those two things, we can pretty much kind of rule ourselves ready to play without having to really crank forward and back too much, because it's a lot of wear and tear on the neck. Be careful with neck tractioning. Be careful with gimmick devices. Pretty much anytime you're strapping anything to your head, you're putting weight on your head and neck. Without a lot of either professionalism going into it, right? If a PT's there with you doing some sort of exercise, or you're being very careful and you're being isometric and not moving, I would rule most of those exercises out. There are exceptions. Again, I'm not saying don't go on. There are a lot of these products that you can find. Some of them work for some people, but in general, stick with isometrics for the neck to start.